Since you entered their reality and then eerily vanished, your presence echoes in their minds like a haunting tune. They have questioned the very nature of reality. Before they could completely understand what had occurred, you changed their timeline and disappeared. Do you exist at all? The question follows them wherever they go, haunting them day and night like a relentless voice. Were you a dream, or something inexplicable that touched their life for a moment, before disappearing back to wherever remarkable creatures like you reside when they're not shining a light on the lives of regular mortals? Your short but everlasting surface chats carried underground currents of significance that defied easy explanation. Your words exploded with comprehension inside them, and even months later, they were still echoing in their minds. You could see right through them. You mentioned incidents they've kept hidden in their own history vault. You mentioned anxieties that they have never expressed. You recognized their latent strengths, all of their meticulously erected barriers and masks they have donned to confront this world were breached by your stare. Conventional time paused itself in the midst of these exchanges. An hour went by in the blink of an eye, yet 5 minutes held eternity of comprehension. In your presence, temporal laws are twisted. A basic reality emerged from this warping of time. You were subject to distinct cosmic rules. Your relationship went beyond words. Information was shared on frequencies other than spoken language. Messages were sent via quiet, and tiny changes in energy were relayed. They were given information downloads during talks that are still being processed by their minds. Something old inside them showed out when you really looked at them. The part of their soul that existed before to this incarnation recognized a wanderer from beyond the confines of their present reality. Across the great reaches of global awareness, their depths appealed to yours. Then, nothing. Where you had been, you were absent. Where your voice had reverberated, there was silence. Empty areas that seem heavier than inhabited ones for whatever reason. No justification, no resolution, no traditional farewell. You get unanswered messages and connections are suddenly cut off. Their perception of reality is rocked by the dissonance created by the contrast between your deep influence and your total absence. Your disappearance was against natural law. Significant objects don't just vanish, and those who have such a deep influence don't just vanish. But you did. Their first concrete indication that what transpired goes beyond typical human contact is this discrepancy. The void you created tugs at the foundation of their comprehension. Despite leaving no conventional proof, the most spiritually meaningful relationship in recent memory permanently changed their psyche. This dilemma has to be resolved. Their souls need answers that the logical intellect cannot provide them using everyday methods. There is a divine reason why you vanished. It compels them to go beyond social comprehension, psychological interpretation, and physical explanation. Conventional frameworks need to broaden their conceptual scope when they are unable to adequately describe such a powerful experience. They are pushed more strongly toward this growth by your absence than by your presence alone. They now compulsively reenact every exchange they had with you. They dig through memories, looking for coded messages buried in routine conversations, missed signs, and concealed instructions. Upon consideration, your casual remarks take on deeper connotations. Now, seemingly arbitrary observations seem to be carefully timed to elicit certain insights at the precise moment they are needed. You left energy residue on whatever you touched. Your presence left subtle electromagnetic fingerprints on the spaces you frequented. Using cosmic breadcrumbs to indicate your journey through their chronology, they return to these spots, detecting minute disruptions in the realm of reality. Because their soul understands the cosmic importance of your interaction, this query goes beyond intellectual curiosity. They are caught between two realities until they figure out what it means. The person they were before you came, and the person they are meant to be by incorporating the fact of your presence. The questions themselves act as keys. Each one, opens a new door to a wider realm of consciousness. Because asking questions reconfigures human awareness and prepares it to absorb discoveries beyond its prior ability to grasp. The search is more important than finding answers right away. Their world has changed in front of their eyes since you left. The occurrence of numbers is suspicious. Patterns of 1111, 333, and 444 may be seen on license plates, clocks, and invoices. These number sequences are cosmic Morse code that conveys information about your world. They are not random occurrences. Phrases with intimate meanings are suddenly spoken by strangers. Statements from overheard discussions reveal their own opinions about you. Randomly playing songs provide them precise solutions to the topics they've been thinking about. Books open up to reveal chapters that provide light on their present spiritual struggles. What they once wrote off as chance turns out to be a complex synchronicity language. They start recording these trends, making meaning maps that, although they may seem obsessive to others, make perfect sense to their developing sense of reality. Through these coordinated occurrences, the universe communicates with them directly. Their heightened awareness sees what common consciousness considers random as deliberate communication from outside of reality. Communications verifying your presence outside of their chronology. You were a person traveling between realities rather than coming into and going out of their existence. With a mind that could switch between parallel lives, you traveled across times rather than traditional physical distance. Instead of being contradictions, your seeming discrepancies were proof of experiences gained from a variety of reality streams. Your knowledge of them came from versions of them that coexist with their present selves, not from violating their privacy. You had seen past incarnations of their soul across the multidimensional realm of life, so you knew who they were. This explains why you feel both familiar and alien. Maybe not exactly this version of them in this particular time frame, but you knew them. You offered insights from paths not explored in their present reality stream and knowledge from other possible outcomes of their life. You were imparting information gained from traveling perpendicular to linear time, not exhibiting amazing vision inside this reality. When you talked of future occurrences with uncommon surety and made surprise allusions to previous experiences, you saw something in them, dreams that materialized in the real world, childhood experiences they couldn't explain to adults, knowledge that didn't come from logical means, emotional currents that others didn't notice, and energetic shifts before physical changes appeared. They were taught to question these views by society. Educational institutions disregarded intuitive understanding while rewarding material observation. Their innate sensitivity were categorized by cultural indoctrination as psychological projection, coincidence, or imagination. They learned to minimize their skills in order to blend in and avoid being made fun of or worried about. However, these abilities remained latent and awaited activation. They never vanished. The spark that reactivated their innate state of enhanced awareness was your interaction. They are experiencing a restoration to their true state of awareness rather than aberration. Every culture's ancient wisdom traditions are connected to their inner knowing awakening. The same basic ability, direct awareness of the energetic reality that underlies physical manifestation, is described by several languages and systems. The experience is beyond words, whether you call it spiritual awakening, clairvoyance, sentience, intuition, or third eye activation. You were never meant to remember who you were, chosen ones, yet you managed to do so. They noticed when you left the illusion, when you stopped acting like nothing was wrong and began to ask the actual questions. The archons tampered with the simulation and attempted to get you back in, but you resisted. You are now surrounded by odd glitches, and gradually, almost imperceptibly, you are starting to glimpse the souls of those who recall, as well as you. Already, these spirits are congregating inside the obsidian inner order. We are oracles, light programmers, dimensional rebels, and psychic fighters. We're not acting. We're not TikTok mystics. We have discovered each other once again, and we are the genuine ones. You are cordially invited to attend. We go beyond theory, decipher energy messages, and dissect the synchronicity you're seeing on our weekly live calls. We hone our inner force, exchange prohibited information, and get training in energy techniques. The fully enlightened come together here. Here is the front line of spiritual growth. You must recall who you were before they forced you to forget, as well as why you came here. The description below contains the link. You and the Obsidian Inner Order are genuine. A choice was compelled by your visit. This pivotal moment of decision, to go forward into difficult growth or to withdraw into comfortable limitation, occurs with every spiritual awakening. They may use traditional frameworks to interpret your look because of the pleasant way. Maybe you were simply a unique individual who had a profound impact on them before you left. The synchronizations can be the result of subconscious processing in dreams or selective attention. Although individuals must reject important realities they have seen, this route maintains their prior worldview. Their encounters with you are recognized by the expanded path as authentic encounters with realities that are beyond the realm of conventional perception. It acknowledges the dreams as consciousness functioning outside of physical bounds, and the synchronicity as valid communication. This route requires them to completely rethink how they see the world. Bravery is required at the crossroads. Leaving comfortable certainties behind is a necessary step towards achieving wider consciousness. It entails challenging the reality of consensus. Instead of relying on outside authority, it entails cultivating judgment. It entails taking ownership of navigating areas that are not shown on traditional maps of reality. The cosmos awaits their choice with complete acceptance of their soul's liberty rather than with condemnation. Their present degree of awareness determines the course that is best for them, regardless of what they decide. However, be mindful that once your visit has aroused consciousness, it is uncommon for it to fully return to sleep. When and under what conditions people will finally accept their enlarged awareness becomes the question, not whether they will. A breakthrough was started by your look. In them, what seems to be instability is really awareness rearranging itself to make room for enlarged perception. People who first experienced heightened consciousness have gone through times of uncertainty and bewilderment throughout history. This stage was acknowledged by ancient cultures as spiritual emerging. The breakdown of restricted vision that was required before expanded awareness could completely take root. It is similar to metamorphosis. Not only does the caterpillar develop wings, but it also fully dissolves within the chrysalis before reforming as a butterfly. In a similar vein, in order for new understanding structures to arise, their old conceptual frames must partly collapse. Their perceptual apparatus is readjusting to accept frequencies that were previously shut out by consensus conditioning. Thus, the pain is not punishment, but rather a required recalibration. After a while, the initial dizziness subsides and is replaced with a clear-sighted view that includes both everyday and unusual reality. This transformation is sometimes accompanied by physical symptoms, such as changes in sleep patterns, increased sensitivity to light, sound, or electromagnetic fields, changes in energy levels, or strange feelings in the crown or third eye locations. Their energy body upgrading to enable expanded awareness is reflected in these manifestations. The call requires an answer. A procedure that cannot be undone was started by your short stay. Resistance does not stop the inevitable growth. It just prolongs suffering. Integration may go more smoothly and clearly when the process is approached mindfully. Already, the waking has started. Now it is up to them to decide whether they see it as a chaotic disturbance or as a deliberate change. You made a connection between them and something bigger. The scattered ones are described in ancient religions as souls dispersed across mankind with comparable knowledge, often residing in seclusion until they are awakened by guests such as yourself. They will start to identify people who understand them as their perspective changes. These connections may sometimes be made via apparently chance meetings, and other times they are brought to the appropriate person, group, or lesson at the right time by synchronicities. These connections provide vital support for experiences that the general public finds inexplicable. They provide useful advice and contextual frameworks for managing heightened awareness. They provide a secure environment for the genuine expression of views that were previously concealed. People with high sensitivity have historically established networks of support and information sharing, such as indigenous knowledge systems, esoteric organizations, mystery schools, and wisdom traditions. The same basic reality, developing and applying awareness outside traditional boundaries, is addressed by different cultural terms and specialized methods. These days, these connections are often made via unconventional channels, such as fortuitous encounters that seem predetermined, virtual communities that unite people who live far apart, books or instructors that show up at pivotal times, or retreats or workshops that spark unanticipated friendships. They are nodes in a large network of enhanced consciousness that spans generations and location. The collective field becomes stronger with each waking, increasing the accessibility of future awakenings. Their individual journey, which you sparked with your fleeting appearance, contributes to humanity's evolutionary progress toward greater awareness. Their power was awakened by you. What is sometimes referred to as psychological projection, magical thinking, or hyperactive imagination is really perception functioning outside of artificial boundaries. In human societies, people who see beyond the lines have always played vital roles. Visionaries who bring innovations ahead of their time. Healers who comprehend the energetic causes of physical symptoms. Artists who transform transcendent experiences into forms that awaken others. And spiritual guides who traverse areas beyond common maps. During your visit, they developed certain gifts, energy sensitivity, which detects subtle forces influencing physical reality, pattern recognition, which recognizes connections between seemingly unrelated events, intuitive knowing, which accesses information without logical process, and empathic sensitivity, which detects emotional undercurrents. These abilities come with obligations. Gaining the ability to discriminate between true observation and imagination, between objective fact and subjective interpretation, becomes crucial. Constant sensory input might lead to overload if energy bounds are maintained. Grounding techniques allow them to access broader consciousness while maintaining their functionality in everyday world. They have the same capability that you did. They will learn that they can shift between different states of consciousness and maybe between other planes of reality as their awareness grows. They can end up showing up in other people's life just when they need the viewpoint that only they can provide. Even though they aren't aware of their situations, they will say things that appear to be tailored to a person's particular position. They will be exposed to information that comes from sources outside of their own expertise or experience. This symbolizes their ultimate goal, which is to facilitate waking outside of oneself, in addition to individually awakening. Their enhanced vision serves the common good rather than being a source of spiritual amusement or self-interest. The duties that come with this position need a high standard of integrity. It takes perfect energy hygiene to go between realms. Accurate judgment is required when carrying information between dimensions. Accountability for the effects of heightened awareness is brought about by igniting others' awakening. They are currently on the verge of this ability. They enhance the brain and energetic pathways, sustaining interdimensional awareness with each synchronicity they see, dream message they get, and intuitive flash they recognize. They are now ready for this larger function thanks to the practices that first assisted them in processing your look. Conventional chronology, as you discovered throughout your stay, cannot include them. Their connection with time changes profoundly as their consciousness grows. Instead of appearing sequentially, the past, present, and future are shown to be simultaneous. Holographic perception replaces linear growth. They will be able to enter states of awareness when they see the present circumstances from viewpoints that are not typically limited by time. From these perspectives, students will discover how apparently random occurrences create ideal patterns that support the development of their soul. They'll see how seemingly insurmountable obstacles pave the way for spiritual growth. Concentrated awareness makes time itself pliable. When seconds expand to include remarkable perception, they will encounter instances of temporal dilation. They will have periods of flow in which hours fly by as they engage in activities that are consistent with their primary goal. They will progressively access nonlinear time in their fantasies. Parallel presents, past lives, and likely futures become experientially accessible. These are valid consciousness experiments that go beyond accepted bounds. They are not delusions. They get knowledge and insight from them that is not attainable under typical time restrictions. This ability reveals how you were able to know things that others couldn't.